Hello and welcome to the Charmed Life podcast. This podcast is all about magic, metaphysics, mysticism, and the unconditional love of the universe. And I am your host. My name is Tricia Carr. Well, what I have for you today is, I guess, a sort of bonus episode. This is the live stream that I did just this week. And in case you didn't get to catch it on YouTube or on Facebook, I'm doing it as a multi-stream, then I thought I would post it here for you. And even if you did get to catch it, maybe you want to listen to it again on your way to work, and because there's quite a lot of details in there, a lot of information. So I thought I would give this to you guys as a bonus. In this, I talk about intuitive living, tuning to the universal laws, and I also talk a little bit about some human design, about how you can attune your design because of whatever the topic is that we are talking about. So I'm calling these live streams Intuitive Living and Universal Laws with the intention to talk about, well, just those things, how we can actually live more intuitively by attuning to the universal laws. And we may be talking about many other mystical and spiritual topics as the focus, including archangels and human design. And I will also be giving readings from time to time in these, which, by the way, readings that are given for others in a live setting, when someone listens in the replay later, Spirit probably has dropped messages in there for you. If your heart is open, you will be receiving something as well, because Spirit is that aware of what the quote-unquote future would be. So in this particular one, that is an overview of what these bonus episodes will be for you. And in this one, we are talking about the Universal Law of Reciprocity. We are talking about the heart center, especially in the nine-centered being of the human design chart. And we are also talking about Archangel Ariel and nature, ecosystem, balance, and how you are being served and how you can also allow yourself to receive. And so I hope you enjoy intuitive living and universal laws. Okay, well, I'll just tell you a little bit about myself and what I am doing today, and also with this live multi-streaming event. And so I guess overall, I'm an intuitive. I'm a spiritual teacher. That's a huge part of what I do. And I'm a channel, a hypnotherapist, and my human design is reflector. I'm a reflector 5-1. And so with human design, by the way, if you have not gotten your human design going yet, your experiment, as we call it, I highly recommend that you do. You can go to Jovian Archive or just Google human design chart, and you can get your chart for free. Just like with an astrological natal chart, you need to have your birth time and place in order to get an accurate chart. And even if you haven't done that yet, though, you can still appreciate whatever it is that I share and teach on as it regards human design. These particular broadcasts, as I pull up notes here, these broadcasts, I'm centering around intuitive living, the universal laws. We'll probably talk about many other mystical and metaphysical topics, archangels and human design. Those are some of my areas of passion at all times. But right now, with human design as a reflector, all of my centers are open. So I do talk a lot about deconditioning and what we call not self themes, or you might think of it as the shadow aspects of the centers. And also we might get into gates and stuff like that. But here's the thing, you have the potential of everything in your chart. So even if I'm talking about, let's say, the not self theme of the heart center, you may also experience that even if you have a defined heart center, because, we have the potential for everything in our charts. So anyway, let's see, do I have anything else to tell you about? Just that I also have an Instagram, and that is at Tricia Carr Charm. And let me see who's here and say hello. Hi, nice to see you. Hi, Kate. Oh, hi, Guided by Sunshine. I don't know what your name is. I know you though, right? That's your handle. Hi, Asha. Hi, Anna. Hi, Tiffany. So nice to see you guys. Okay, I'm going to just do a quick little invocation and prayer. And if you want to join in, that would be fantastic. You can just take a breath with me. If you're driving, which some of you may be doing, just be sure to keep your eyes open and stay alert. But really, this is like a prayer and an invocation. Hi, cat. Okay. A nice, deep, and cleansing breath. These are beneficial and helpful at any time, whatever it is that we are doing. For the divine breath of life connects us, attunes us to who it is that we truly are, the depths and the truth of our I am. The I am within, the God in me. And the divine breath of life is like a magic wand that releases tension, reassures us that the universe has faith in us, and also reminds us that we have faith in the universe and in ourselves. And so we just summon and invoke the breath of life and all its glory and all of its divinity. And we open this sacred space with appreciation and blessings. Thank you so much, universe, dear God, for the opportunity to come together with the intention to discover the truth of who we are and to release this truth on to your beautiful creation. Thank you for reminding us that we are co-creators, that we are here creating our life, and that we can come into alignment with the intuitive frequency, our voice of truth. And so we set the intention to be able to enhance intuitive living, to attune to universal laws, and to attune to our divine design. And so we open this space with gratitude and appreciation and a welcome to the archangels. And especially we recognize that Archangel Ariel is holding this beautiful space for us. And so we call it open, alive, awake, and attuned. Amen. And so it is. Okay, everyone. I want to talk to you today about the universal law of reciprocity. Reciprocity. This is balance. It's also related to the universal law of gender, polarity, because those are both about balance. They're both about the polarity, things being one way and another at once. And right here in the center is the balance. But the universal law of reciprocity specifically highlights how energy will always reciprocate. It will always find its reciprocal nature in order for the ecosystem to be balanced out. And how that affects humans specifically is in a few examples I can give you. If you are giving too much and you're not receiving in return, this will cause some deficiency in your energy because it's causing deficiency in the field, and it will somehow echo back to you even louder in a more amplified way so that you can be aware of the lesson of giving more and not receiving in return. And of course, the opposite is true. If we're working from a shadow aspect of ourselves, from a fear, and we are demanding more, we are asking more and not giving a reciprocal amount in return. The law of reciprocity is water always seeking its own level. It always will. And we will be asked, we will be shown by the field when we are not operating in reciprocity. And so if you are in some situation, whether it's a relationship or a career, and you are deeply uncomfortable, you are maybe tired, burnt out, feeling unrewarded, feeling undervalued, then I invite you to tap into the law of reciprocity. Be gentle with yourself. Be loving with yourself. What's so interesting is that when we are out of alignment with the law of reciprocity, whether it is we are giving too much and not allowing ourselves to receive the reciprocation in return, or the other way around, asking for too much, we often have it polarizing in our lives. Oh, my camera went away for a second. I guess it's fine now. It looks like it's fine now. You guys hear and see me okay? Hi, Brian. Hi, Lisa. So give me a note here on the comments if for any reason the sound or the camera go out. Anyway, back to what I was saying. If you're working out of alignment, out of balance in relation to the law of reciprocity, you might find it showing up in both ways, in that you are giving too much and not receiving, or you're asking for too much and not giving. It's harder to see the second one. I mean, it's harder in that we might feel shame around it. We might feel guilt. We might feel, it touches on something deep inside. But I want to encourage you to see if you can look at it neutrally. Because if you are giving too much, you might be taking too much too. Because again, in your own energy, reciprocity is trying to find a balance. It really is. And it may be that, let's say in work, you're giving too much. And then in your relationship or in your home, you are asking for a lot because you're just simply exhausted and you're thirsty and you're hungry. And I mean, spiritually or maybe literally. and and so you are taking too much. Oh, thank you. So they're just, the spirit angels are just telling me that this could be the underlying cause of some of us consuming too much drink or food, because we are actually giving too much and then we are taking too much in some other area, to more than our body requires, because again, it's just the energy trying to figure out how to balance itself. It's kind of beautiful. It's really beautiful, actually, if you feel into it, welcome it in. And so, speaking of consuming too much, which I've been in those cycles in my life before. I don't know why that camera keeps fuzzing out. Hold on 1 second. I'm just going to make an adjustment. Make sure everything is plugged in all right. And okay, so I've been in the cycles where I am consuming more than my body requires, more than what might be optimally healthy for me. And I do have the tendency, I have the shadow of codependency. It was modeled to me as a child, but it's also in my gene keys. It's also in my human design gates. I have gate 19, gene key 19 showing up in a lot of places on my chart. And the overall energy, the midline energy of 19 is sensitivity. And so the shadow, the subversion of sensitivity is codependency and giving too much and losing one's identity. And then the light of sensitivity, well, the balance is sensitivity. And then the gift above that is interdependence, a sacrifice of one's lesser qualities, the things that we don't need, so that we can bring more of ourselves to a relationship or to the whole. It's like when you come into a relationship and you may sacrifice some of your free time so that you can bond and be together, or to help one another, or to love one another. That kind of interdependence and sacrifice, a good kind of sacrifice. The shadow of sacrifice is codependency, where we give up our identity, we give more than is healthy for anyone. And of course, this speaks to boundaries, because boundaries are actually something that work from the inside out. Boundaries are keeping your light full and not giving away a portion of your light so that you would be, again, subverted in a relationship. Bringing our full light to any situation, any moment. And there, so you want to come up here? Con, my kitty wants to come up here. You can, babe. So then if we say here, my light is full from the inside out, and here is what is correct for me, this is my light. I mean, your aura is bigger than that, but I'm just demonstrating it with my hands. Then this is what is correct for me. So then we would say, well, this is boundaries. And I would lovingly say no to something so that I'm not giving away myself and giving too much to someone else, spoiling them, if you will, or enabling them. So let's talk about how the law of reciprocity relates to maybe your human design chart, or excuse me, again, whether or not you know what your human design is, or whether you have a center defined or undefined, you still have the potential of all energies. But what I see as a particular correlation, something we can look at as it concerns the law of reciprocity, is, I'm going to put up a little graphic here, is the heart center. If you have, and that is the little white triangle there on the graphic, the heart center is the actual, in the 9-centered model, it is the will and it is the ego. It is in human design in 1781 or 83, I always forget. The heart actually split into two. And so the heart went from just the single center, and it split into two, to the identity center and the heart center. And so what we have here is a list. The bullet points are basically the not self themes of the heart center. And this is especially, I guess I might say, if you have an undefined heart. And just the top one there is really all we need to focus on, needing to prove your worth. So if you were working out of balance with the law of reciprocity, if you were not allowing someone to give you a reciprocal energy exchange for what it is that you are giving, you might be overgiving because you have this fearful sense of needing to prove your worth, overgiving so that you can prove your worth. And at the same time, if you were soothing yourself by taking more than is optimally healthy for you, it would also be from a place of lacking confidence, lacking strength of will, lacking the ego, the healthy ego, and needing to take more to soothe yourself for feeling that you're not worthy. So that's how it relates. I just think can relate to honestly all of the centers, all of the open centers, but it really seems to really directly relate to that openness, needing to prove your worth and being worthy. And we have Archangel Ariel overseeing this. And so I want to give you an attunement, some support from Ariel here in a moment. But I want to also answer maybe a burning question. Well, what do I do about it? What do I do about building my worth? What do I do about being able to even know if I am in the attuned space, the right balance of reciprocity? And Ariel will help us with that. But first, let me tell you that it is really your spending time in your energy, your pure energy. This looks like devotional time, meditation, and prayer. This looks like, does the camera need better battery? Oh, no, it doesn't. It's just the connection is a little weird. But you guys can see me, right? Right now, I know it's gone off a couple of times. Can you see me all right? Give me a hello if it. I'll fix it. I'll fix it next time. I just need to use a different connector. I understand what's going on, but it's too late. So here we go. I want to tell you that it is your devotional time. It is time even like this, because as you are in this energy and you're contemplating it, feeling it in your body. Okay, thank you so much, Tiffany. Feeling it in your body, contemplating instead of thinking about my worth. How can I? When we're having the thinking sense, that is actually just the conscious mind. It is not able to penetrate and move all the way down into the body. So if we can feel deeply our own energy, and it might take some time if you've been operating in overgiving, if you are highly empathic or highly sensitive, if you're somehow have some habits that are out of alignment, then it does take time. It takes some more energy space to give yourself the opportunity to feel your own energy, feel it down deep in the body. So meditation is kind of the catch-all, but prayer as well. Now, I want to tell you that I have been meditating regularly, daily, at least once per day. How long now? Probably 8 years. And then I had a sporadic meditation practice before that. My meditation also looks like self-healing, self-hypnosis. And by the way, meditation is hypnosis, just so you know. It is moving into an altered state in order to experience your subconscious, your unconscious, your body, and moving out of the thinking space, letting that stand down and moving into the space of open energy. And so even though I have a pretty solid practice, I have my habit, my mind can stand down when I ask it to, when I intend it to. But I still need to shift up my practice periodically. Because here's the thing, if you're starting meditation and you're like, I just don't think I can do it because my mind won't slow down, preaching to the choir. The whole world is the choir. That is the absolute number one natural, normal experience for everyone. And so even if you have a practice, the mind will start to creep in and start to like say, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get in there and kind of hijack the meditation. She thinks she's meditating, but I'm still in control. I figured out how to control this space as well. And that's why we need to shift it up in some way. Sometimes that means more time. Sometimes that means less time. Sometimes that means using guide tracks or shifting your guide tracks or not using no guide tracks. So that's when if you have a meditation practice or habit. And it's really the same with the beginning or the middle of your habit of meditation, is that it always counts every time that you sit down with the intention to feel your own energy and to turn off the thoughts, so that as you are in this space, and to not manage and control thoughts too, because sometimes there is a misconception that mindfulness, which really means no mind, no thoughts, is the only way to be in meditation. When in fact, when you have shifted out of it and you are open to the energy, you can start to receive thoughts, not to create thoughts or, generate thoughts yourself, but to receive thoughts from the universe, from your spirit guides, from angels. And receiving a thought is different than doing a thought. So if you were attempting to say mindless, you might be trying to control the fact that you're receiving a thought and you reject it. So just some things to be aware of as we're in our devotional time, devoting ourselves to our own energy. The best thing to do when you are starting is to set a timer for like 10 minutes, or actually in my most recent podcast episode, Michelle Basil said she started with setting a timer for 5 minutes. Works too. I think I started with 5 minutes actually. Because one of the number one objections that the mind says is that I don't have enough time. And then it's because time is really owning us in our lives. No matter how spiritual you are, no matter how practiced you are, time is trying to own us. And this is why we think we don't have enough time. I just posted on Instagram. When we think we don't have enough time, what's really happening is that time has too much of me. And that's the truth, the illusion of time. So if you set a timer for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and put your phone over there, then you will be basically, even though we're using a timer, it is hacking the concept of time. It causes us to clock out of time, because I can sit and breathe for 10 minutes without going, oh my gosh, how long has it been? Is it time yet? Time. We've given it over to one of our amazing devices, one of our fantastic technologies, and we have clocked out of time by doing that. And once again, this is something that you can do if you already have a strong or habitual meditation practice. You can set a timer for 30 minutes if you have a tendency for doing them for 10 or 15 minutes and you want to shift it up and you feel the urge to shift it up. Set a timer for 30 minutes and sit there and breathe and trust the process. So there you go. That's one thing that we can do to be able to cultivate our worth, our self-worth, and bring ourselves into alignment with the universal law of reciprocity, but also just being aware and contemplating the universal law of reciprocity in a relationship. Knowing that we need to actually give, but we have to allow others to give of themselves in order for us both to be receiving the love that we have for one another, the truth of who we are as we give it to one another. Okay. Now, I want to tell you that Archangel Ariel oversees this. And so if you would like to contemplate, if you would like to be in the energy of Ariel for an attunement around this law of reciprocity and balancing self-worth. And I'll tell you why, because Archangel Ariel is the angel who oversees nature and the ecosystem and balance. And she is also the champion for sensitivity. I want to say sensitive human beings, which we all are. Some have a stronger kind of intention on our life, maybe by the way our energy is configured, to work with sensitivity, to find the balance of it, to work through shadows of sensitivity, which might be codependency, and then to transmute shadow and be in the balance, as well as the higher gift of it, which is to be in a divine sacrifice. Once again, remembering that sacrifice can be seen as codependency, but we mean the divine sacrifice where we're able to release parts of our of ourselves that are not serving us for a greater good of connecting and showing who we really are to the world. So Ariel is the champion, is the one who helps us with sensitivity. And she is very much attuning to, she's very much giving us the example and holding the space about reciprocity, because that's how nature works. An ecosystem works in balance. The trees send signals through the mycelial network to all of the world about what parts of their garden, what parts of their area need nutrients and water. And so that is how nature works. It works with finding balance, always moving things in. If there is an imbalance in a forest, let's say a certain predatory species has come into, a surge of population, something will happen in that forest, a certain kind of poison or pestilence that targets that predator, so that it will winnow down that population, and we will find balance. And this is also when when we actually do a controlled burn on a certain area, because we can see with the dry season and the dryness that it could cause a wildfire that would, interrupt the living situation of the things that we have put in that area, homes and stuff. If it weren't for humans getting involved and creating a controlled burn, then nature would do it itself. It would create a burn. There would be friction, and it would actually create a burn in that area, which would bring some, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm thinking of like the coal, you know what I mean? Which is a way to let a space lay fallow, and then it can regenerate its nutrients on its own. And you are that as well. You are an ecosystem. So any place that you are out of balance, your energy has everything it needs to bring itself in balance again. And Archangel Ariel is holding a loving space for you for this. She also holds the awareness of grace, because in the peak of seasons, whether I'm talking about natural seasons, right now we have a crazy heat wave where I am, and I think in a lot of places across the United States. The temperatures are over 100 for the next week or so here. And in the peak of this season, it can cause a lot of stress. Even though I get to live inside and I have like a controlled air conditioned environment, it still causes stress because there is a stress on the environment, and we just respond to that. And so the peak of a heat season, Ariel gives us the reminder that it's weather, and that we can weather the heat, or in the winter we can weather the snowstorm, we can weather the storm. Allows us to hold ourselves as a mountain, just observing the weather passing by. Allows us to hold that space of awareness and learning from the weather, learning how to ground ourselves, learning how to find peace within, learning that we have everything we need to be, and we don't have to feel the stress that is outside, not to the point where we identify to it, but that we can come into a calm and an observational experience and figure out how to even rejoice in the fact that there are high tides and low tides. There's heat and there's cold. So she reminds me, this is an example that she pointed out to me actually when I was, Ariel, she pointed out to me when I was a kid. I grew up in Texas, and the state flower of Texas is the bluebonnet. It's a really pretty flower. It looks similar to the lupines that I know grow here in California, but it's different. It's a different flower. Bluebonnets they have a stem, and they have little flowers that come all around, and they're a bluish violet purple. And really, I'd say a violety blue, since we call them blue bonnets, really have a lot of blue color to them. So blue bonnets are such a beautiful flower, and we only get a bloom of blue bonnets in the spring and summer if there is a proper freeze in the winter. Now, I grew up in Fort Worth, which there is some snow 1 or 2 months of the year. And so we do, but sometimes it doesn't even get that snowy. It doesn't even get that cold, but we usually get a snow. But for how long that freeze is directly impacts how robust the bluebonnet bloom will be for that spring. That is because the seed of the bluebonnet, the outside shell is so hard. It is a very firm shell that it requires a winter freeze in order to cause it to crack open, to dry it up and to bring its temperature down so low that it can crack open. Because the tender little sensitive sprout that would be inside that seed isn't strong enough to pass through the hard shell on its own. It requires the weather, it requires the freeze to crack it open. Now, this is a metaphor, I'm sure, for a lot of us. If you can, I'm sure you're relating to this. I'm going to close the curtain so I'm not so blown out. That's better. Better lighting, huh? So that tender, sensitive sprout inside needs the season, the freeze, in order to crack it open. And then when it does, how hard, the sprout is still also pushing against it. So it's a symbiosis because it's got some strength. It's going to try to push against that seed. It may crack that outer shell, but there's still like an inner shell that may be more like a dry membrane. And the sprout still needs to push against that and needs to summon its strength. And summoning its strength, it feels its own energy. It knows its worth. It is its worth. And that signal gets sent out to the ecosystem. And then, as I said, the mycelial network, which is a fungus that actually exists in nature, and the trees are the ones who oversee it, will cause the moisture, will cause the nutrients to be able to go to that little sprout's signal and give it the strength to be able to push through that small membrane. And with the cooperation of the freeze, leave behind all of that beautiful shell, which then the soil can take and use as nutrients to distribute to other parts of the garden. And so we need the freeze and we need the heat. And Ariel reminds us of this. And that little sprout inside is also showing us the law of reciprocity, because the little sprout inside says, I am who I am. I am here to be the fullness of who I am. So I'm going to feel that energy. I'm going to be my energy. And as I am that energy, I send that signal out. And then the reciprocal elements, the reciprocal nutrients, the reciprocal energy answer. And then I can become fully bloomed. So that's who you are. You are nature. You are just like this. Okay, well, that's about what I have for you in this little bit of a lesson. So let me see what's going on with you. Oh, Marissa, you're from Corpus Christi. I visited Corpus Christi a couple of times when I lived in Texas, and it was, it's a vacation spot for those who are, a little further north in the state. Pardon me while I take a sip. So I'm going to look at the comments here. How are we doing? Fire and water balance has been showing up a lot. Really? I'm going to put that. Oh, yes. I had a strong message this over the last year or so about water and needing more water in my life. So I was taking a lot of baths, and I was taking baths with salt, but it's also the spiritual qualities of the element of water that I needed. Flow. I needed cleansing. Being able to be fresh in my energy and to lighten up, because if you think about water like purifying, and it lightens up all of the earth that might be over accumulated in an area. Thanks for that. We just had yellow cosmic here. This is Malia again. We just had a yellow cosmic seed yesterday in the 13 moon calendar. Oh, cool. I love that. And this is Jasmine says, contrast creates solutions. Oh, Jasmine, yes. This is a download that I received this week in relationship to my coaching, to one of the people I'm coaching, but also for myself and for everyone, right? As there is a solution for every problem. And as I heard there is a solution for every problem, the download was remembering that solution in the sense of it being like a liquid bath. If you have a solution, a liquid bath that has different ingredients in it in order for it to be a solvent, and So with this, and by the way, I should put here the coaching that I'm talking about, and it the actually, I'm just going to give you one other one here. So the solution, what I worked on with that particular client was the incarnation cross in your human design, which is in the incarnation cross, it's 4 gates. And they're the ones, if you know your human design, it's like there are 13 or 26 numbers, 13 on each side. Sorry, and just ignore the video. And so the top 2 on the left and the top 2 on the right, that's your the gates of your incarnation cross. And so we looked at those gates in this person, in my coaching clients. I'm going to put that in there. Thank you so much, Jasmine. As the qualities of the solution that she could put herself in, immerse herself in those 4 gates, all of those qualities, and to create, it is a solution for her to immerse herself in so that she can move forward and find healing and, empowerment. But I'm giving you there, and I put it in the chat, that the very inexpensive, here, I'm putting it in the chat again because it didn't error on Facebook. There it is. Perfect. So I have a subscription platform. If you like my podcast or my YouTube, it's a way to support it. But we also meet once per week for a workshop. We meet once per month for a workshop, once per month for a live group meditation. And it's called Modern Mystic Life. And it's really a great way for us to connect. It's a way for you to support it's only $11 a month. It's $11.11 a month. And you also get 2 to 4 times per week some content, some exclusive and premium content that will help to move you along in your mystic life, in your intuitive living. By the way, as I called this particular broadcast that I'm doing here, intuitive living, all of this helps us to attune to the still small voice of our intuition. The still small voice of our intuition is an embodied voice. It isn't the one that's in the mind that's chattering at us all the time. Anyway, thank you so much, Jasmine, for that. That was a wonderful help there. But I encourage you to join Modern Mystic Life. We have a beautiful community, and I would love to see you there. So this person says, was water for the past 6 months for me, but now I have a strong urge of earth coming in. I set up and dedicated an altar to that element in particular to work with it more. Oh, I love that. Yes, setting up an altar, putting together something that outpictures your intention. Oh goodness, the camera's not coming back as fast now. Well, I hope you can still hear me. That really helps you to outpicture your intention. That could be a vision board, that could be a ritual, that could be an altar. So thanks for that advice. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up, you guys. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you again very soon. Thanks for tuning in. I love you, whoever you are.